This is the Fiido T1 Cargo, and as you can see, it's a utility bike here. So we've got a front cage, bike rack at the rear, very large removable battery. This one's 20.3 amp hours. It has a 750 watt rear hub motor that can get us to speeds, if unlocked, over 40 kilometers per hour. The bike is heavy, as you could imagine, a design like this. It's 36 kilos, and it does have those fat 4-inch wide tires, 20-inch rims, and 180 millimeter mechanical disc brakes. The battery range, they claim, is up to a massive 120 kilometers, but I'll be putting that to the test, of course, in this review. So very common here, we've got a 7-speed cassette here, and it is Shimano's Tourney. Now this is very entry level, but it does the job, and the shifts have been nice and clean, no grating of gears. If it's aligned properly and the derailleur has not been knocked in the box, you should not have any problems with your gear changes. The front crank has 52 teeth. Our pedals are made out of a hard ABS style plastic, and they feel just fine. I don't have any complaints. The tires that Fiido selected are the CST Big Boat model here, so they are road tires, not those knobbly off-road tires, better rolling resistance. And I like this move. Most companies just go for the knobbly tires, which are very loud, and they're not really great for the road. Plastic mudguards are included. Our front shock here has approximately 3 inches or so of travel, as you can see from the grease mark here. It's reasonably soft, and it does aid the riding comfort of this bike. Just like our seat, which is padded, nice and wide, it has springs, and there's even a shock in the seat post itself here, which is helping to soak up some of those bumps. The T1 Cargo, as the name suggests, is all about being a utility bike. So it does have a bike rack with a wooden insert, and I believe you can get a holder or something that goes over the top of this from Fiido, so you can store more items, carry more cargo, as it was designed to do. There's 2 mounting points as well for water bottles, one here and here. The T1 Cargo has probably one of the best headlights that I have tested out on a bike. It has both a low beam and a high beam. There's a little switch that I'll show you later. You simply switch that up and down, so very similar to, say, a motorcycle. And it really is as bright as what you'd get on a motorcycle. It has daytime running LEDs, so you can see those when you're riding around during the day, adds to safety. And overall, it's just super bright. Probably the best LED headlight that I have tested yet on an e-bike. This front cargo cage, not only is it big, it's also quite deep, as you can see. It goes down, and that means objects aren't really going to fall out of it. And it doesn't rattle, it's very sturdy, the design of it, and it is mounted to the front frame, so it's not affected by you turning, which may put off some people, as the handlebars, of course, they operate independently. That headlight, too, is always going to be facing out the front and not facing where you turn. So I really like this battery bank design. It's huge. We've got a battery that is just over 20 amp hours, so enormous. There's a little tiny flap that goes over the charging port. Charge time is long. It's about 8 hours. Now it is removable. You can slot it out, and you simply just press a button here, a little switch on the underside of the seat. The seat then pops up, and you can slide out that battery. This, of course, means you can charge the battery in the bike or remove it, charge it in your office, at home, wherever. The great thing about this battery that it is locked in place. Now it's a 48 volt system, and with this key here, it acts as an ignition too. So you need to have the key in it, turn it to the on position, so the bike will be powered on. So when you turn it to the off position, you pull out the key. No one can power it on. No one can then remove the battery. It's locked there, safe in place, so no one can just go along and steal it. Now, because of this bike's very heavy 38 kilo weight, Fiido did upgrade the brake rotor size. So normally the standard is 160 millimeters. These ones here are 180. So they are wider, increasing our braking performance, but they aren't hydraulic brakes. These are mechanical disc brakes. I really feel for this price point and the weight of the bike especially, they still should have gone with hydraulic calipers and 180 discs. The front wheel does not have a quick release, so I do highly recommend putting anti-puncture solution in these tires, especially if it's like these roads here. There's a lot of thorns, nails and screws about, which could be a problem. At least our seat post does have a quick release on it. Now, rider heights, the dimensions of this bike can all be found on Fiido's website under the T1 Cargo. Look at the specifications. This is by far my biggest complaint, the screens. On Fiido bikes, they're still using the same display. Now, it's got the battery gauge at the top, which can be a little bit unreliable. We have our speed, 3 pedal assist levels, and it does tell us if we have our light on or not by just pushing this M button. So that's M to power it on. You can cycle through a trip meter. It doesn't have an odometer either, and it's just very hard in general to make it out in direct sunlight, especially now, for example, I cannot see my pedal assist levels. So we have the control here for the high beam, low beam, our little horn. So this is a very loud buzzer. I'll give you a sample of it. And then here we have grips that are not lock grips, so they spin around. I would definitely be swapping these out for some lock grips. On our right hand side here we do have our gear selector, so it's one of these ones that you can use with your thumb, the thumb selector, so going up the gears just right here, then down. But I do find the accelerator, which is right here, incorporated with the gear selector here, is just far too close. So I often go to change down gears and end up hitting the accelerator by mistake. This Fiido T1 is a practical bike, and it just so happens that I've got a package here that I need to deliver and take that to the post office. It's a perfect example of what this utility bike is really good for, because we've got, of course, the carry cage here at the front. I can just put the box right in there. I don't need to carry a backpack with me at all, and you could actually store some other things down here probably, and then I think there's an option to also add like a carry bag for the back of it here. Now the stand, I want to talk a little bit about that it is very sturdy. It doesn't seem to rattle. It's holding the 36 kilos of this bike just fine without any problems here. So the ride comfort of it, what is it like to ride? Well, the seat, because it's so wide and it's got the spring in it, it's actually really comfortable. You just kind of bounce along. Something squeaking there, that's one of my brakes. So yeah, the brakes are a little bit squeaky here, the mechanical disc brakes. So as soon as you start to pedal, it's about around the 3-4 kilometer mark. As soon as you get to that speed, the speed sensor kicks in, gives the power to our motor in the rear, of course, and then away you go. So just rolling downhill here, very easy. And my package, it's nice and snug in there. It's not gonna go anywhere. Hopefully this car's gonna see me. Yes, it's good, thank you. And it powers along really well here, but I am heading downhill. As you can see, I've got ample room here for my knees. They're not going to strike the handlebars. I don't feel cramped, and the riding position is comfortable. You are upright, quite spacious because of the design of the frame. So some rough road ahead. This is where that front fork, the suspension, does help out quite a bit, and then the seat, of course, with the springs and the shock in the seat post made that really quite smooth. You don't get a jar that goes through your spine when you're sitting on this bike. Now for my climb test, so if you haven't seen my other e-bike and e-scooter reviews, this is the test point where I want to test out just how well will it do. It's about 25 degrees this climb, so it's reasonably steep. Now I do have it in pedal assist level number 3. The speed sensor's kicked in now. It took about 2-3 kilometers, and it is going up this in first gear just fine. In fact, I can go up gears here. I'm in the second, third gear now, and this is effortless. So lots of performance, a lot of torque here. This is really easy to climb up, even steep climbs, thanks to that 750 watt motor. So I talk about this a lot when it comes to brakes, that they really should start using hydraulic, and especially with a 36 kilo bike. So 30 kilometers per hour brakes. Oh, so an emergency stop, actually quite good thanks to the 180 millimeter disc brakes. Normally most brands use 160 millimeter, but the 180 does brake a lot better. But as you can hear from that, the pads, they squeal a lot with this bike. One thing I have noticed about this torque sensor is that it can kick in quite abruptly, especially if you have it unlocked, and give you almost a little bit too much torque to start with. Now, I know probably people will say, well, why are you going to complain about that? But it's just the way it delivers that power. And then sometimes it can be a little bit slow to cut out too. So you can see I've now got a bag in the front little parcel carry cage there, and it works out quite well. So you don't have to have that backpack on your back where you might get a little bit sweaty. It does really make the ride a lot more comfortable. So how's the range of the T1 Cargo? Well, they do claim you can get up to 150 kilometers, but with 20-inch rims, I knew straight away that that's quite unrealistic. I think their testing conditions for that would be a 50-kilo rider, which I'm not, I'm 82 kilos, and they probably were riding on the flat and pedal assist level number 1. Now, I'm using pedal assist level 3 that probably most people will stick with, and I am looking at around 80 to 70 kilometer range. Now, I got halfway with the battery according to the gauge, which is a little over the place at times. It's quite unreliable, and I'd done 43 kilometers, so that's how I've gauged it there. I think it's decent considering how heavy it is. It's 36 kilos. It's only got the 20-inch size rims. Of course, the bigger the wheels, the better kind of range you get. It is a very decent battery bank size too. So definite pros of the bike here is the removable battery, lockable battery, and the ignition keys. You can lock it up, leave it. No one's going to turn it on. You can't just pull the battery out of it, which is great. And then how practical is. So it's a very good bike when it comes to stowing things here. Later you can get set up with pouches and things for the bike rack at the rear of it. The seat, I do like the way it just flips up so you can slot out that battery. And it is a very comfortable large seat with the springs in it, and then the spring that is in the seat post itself there. Power-wise, it is powerful. Great in the climbs. We've got the gears, which is good. And it does have a very good top speed if you can unlock it and you're actually legally allowed to run at that unlocked speed there too. You can get it over 40 kilometers per hour, which is great there too. So the things I don't particularly like about this bike, well, they're minor things. We've got, of course, no lock grips right here. That's kind of annoying. The display is annoying that I can't see it properly during the day. I don't like that at all. They need to change this display. Fiido, come on. Other brands are using very large, super clear displays. They need to get up with what their competitors are doing and offer something that's similar or even better there. And then the selector here is so close to where the accelerator is. That is annoying. Another really good thing I do like is the front headlight. Super bright, super safe. It's powerful, low beam, high beam setup. Haven't seen that before. It's really good. The front shock is practical there, and the fat wheels do soak up a lot of bumps. So there we go. That is Fiido's T1 Cargo. Thank you so much for watching this review.